Good morning. Today is Monday, August 11th. I'm Kristen Wright from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. President Trump is announcing plans to counter what he says is an uptick in violent crime in the nation's capital.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control.
Speaking from the White House, the president also says he's deploying the National Guard to D.C. after activating hundreds of FBI agents across the city this weekend. He described crime in the district as a threat to America and called out violent crimes committed against residents. Washington has seen falling crime rates in recent years. According to the Justice Department, violent crime hit a 30-year low in the city last year. Preparations are underway for Friday's SNAP summit meeting between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two leaders have agreed to meet in Alaska as Trump seeks to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. But as NPR's Charles Maynes reports from Moscow, much is still unknown.
It's unclear what concessions Putin will bring from across the Bering Strait. Publicly, the Russian leader insists peace hinges on an end to NATO expansion, Ukraine's disarmament, and ceding land claimed but not always controlled by Russian forces. Trump is on record saying a peace deal may involve a swapping of territories. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is not expected to be part of Friday's talks. Yet in an interview with Fox News on Sunday, Vice President J.D. Vance suggested a meeting between Trump, Putin, and Zelensky was just a matter of time. Meanwhile, a coalition of European leaders issued a weekend statement in support of Ukraine and rejecting any concessions negotiated behind Kiev's back. Charles Maynes, NPR News, Moscow.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is defending his plans to launch a new military offensive against Gaza, despite opposition in Israel and internationally. He detailed the plan to take over Gaza City in the north and refugee camps in central Gaza at a news conference Sunday. Israel's military has killed Gaza's most prominent television journalist in a targeted airstrike. The strike also killed 4 other members of his Al Jazeera crew. As NPR's Aya Batrawi reports, the Israeli military says the correspondent was a Hamas cell commander, but critics question the timing of the attack.
Anas al-Sharif was Al Jazeera's correspondent in Gaza City, documenting the past 22 months of Israeli attacks on the territory. He continued to do so even after 6 of his colleagues at the Arabic broadcaster were killed in the war. Al-Sharif continued to report on airstrikes and starvation in Gaza even after Israel accused him 10 months ago of working to promote Hamas propaganda. Israel named him in a list that included 5 other Al Jazeera journalists at the time, some of whom were later killed or wounded. The Committee to Protect Journalists called Israel's allegations unsubstantiated and says the military has killed nearly 200 journalists in Gaza. The 28-year-old father of 2 left a pre-written statement upon his death saying he never once hesitated to convey the truth. Aya Batrawi, NPR News.
Australia says it will formally recognize a Palestinian state at the 80th UN General Assembly next month. Christina Kukula reports it follows similar pledges from Canada, France, and Britain in response to the escalating humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says a political, not military, solution is needed in Gaza, and it's time for the international community to act.
The situation in Gaza has gone beyond the world's worst fears.
Albanese says the Palestinian Authority has agreed to conditions for recognition, including holding general elections, and that Hamas be excluded from a future government in Gaza. There have been growing public calls and from within government in Australia for sanctions against Israel. In a statement with Foreign Minister Penny Wong, Albanese says Australia is compelled by the Netanyahu government's failure to comply with its legal and ethical obligations in Gaza. For NPR News, I'm Christina Kukala in Melbourne, Australia.
Employees of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta say they feel targeted. They were on campus when shots were fired from across the street last Friday, killing a police officer. Sophie Gradas from Georgia Public Broadcasting has more.
Clustered at an Atlanta park on Sunday, Abby Tai and other former and current CDC staff denounced the violence and called for Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to resign.
He, along with others in this administration, have sown distrust among the American people, dehumanizing CDCers and pointing to us as villains.
Tai says her child was also on lockdown during the shooting at a nearby daycare. In a statement emailed to CDC employees, RFK Jr. called the shooting, quote, unsettling. Many CDC employees will start the week working from home, with plans for an all-staff meeting this week. For NPR News, I'm Sophie Gradas in Atlanta.
Republicans in the Texas State House will try to reconvene for a special session again today. About 50 Democratic members left the state to prevent Republicans from reaching a quorum. Republicans are proposing a new congressional map they hope will give the GOP more seats in the U.S. Congress after midterm elections next year. Governor Greg Abbott is threatening to have the lawmakers arrested. He told Fox News yesterday he'll keep pushing the issue.
This could literally last years because in Texas, I'm authorized to call a special session every 30 days. It lasts 30 days. And as soon as this one is over, I'm going to call another one, then another one, then another one, then another one.
Abbott and Texas's Attorney General are asking the courts to intervene. A state of emergency is in effect in Milwaukee. The mayor says the city hasn't seen flooding this bad in a long time. Thunderstorms and heavy rain hit southeastern Wisconsin over the weekend. Rain fell for nearly 24 hours straight in some areas, and it's not over. It's supposed to rain again today in the Milwaukee area. Flood warnings are in effect. Shipping holiday gifts later this year may cost more than usual. As NPR's Hansi Lo Wang reports, the U.S. Postal Service is proposing a temporary increase to some of its shipping prices to help stabilize its finances.
The proposed price hikes of close to 6% for certain shipping services would last from early October to mid-January, if approved by the Postal Regulatory Commission. The U.S. Postal Service, which is a financial supporter of NPR, says these temporary increases are part of its reorganization plan to become more financially sustainable. While USPS is a federal government agency, it generally receives no tax dollars to keep delivering 6 days a week to every address in the country. With fewer people and businesses using the mail service compared to decades ago, another way USPS is trying to sustain itself is by increasing stamp prices. Last month, a first-class Forever stamp went up to 78 cents, a 7% increase. The Postal Regulatory Commission has proposed limiting future stamp price hikes to once a year. Hansi Lo Wang, NPR News, Washington.
This is NPR News.